Final bosses are meant to be really awesome, but sometimes they're just plain disappointing. By that I mean bosses that have awesome build-up and they're not as fun as we thought. Now, disappointing is different from boring. I mean, there are disappointing bosses that you can still have fun with, but not as fun as you thought you would. And disappointing is also different from easy. So here's my list of the 10 most disappointing final bosses ever. Yes, I know, Baby Bowser from Yoshi's Story is supposed to be a fight from a kid's game, but still, to beat this boss, just shoot the bombs at his spikes on the ceiling and make them fall on him, or you shoot eggs at him. He's easier to hit than it looks. Then, in the second form, just shoot a few bombs at him and you win. There's even a super happy tree in the room that you can lick the fruit off to heal you. There's even an invincibility heart on the super happy tree that makes you invincible. It's low on the list because the music is pretty cool, and because the entire game is supposed to be for kids, so what I expect. Wind Waker is one of the most fabulous games I've ever played in my life. In my original account, I made it known that I found this game overrated, but now I think it deserves all the praise it gets, after thinking about it. The graphics, the soundtrack, and the storyline are beautiful, so I had high expectations for this final boss. Epic music plays, and water pours down into the room. Alright, Zelda is gonna light arrows, then attack Ganondorf. Eventually Ganondorf will attack Zelda. Use parry attacks on Ganondorf, and when Zelda gets back up, reflect the light arrow at Ganondorf, and then attack him once, and that's it. That's the entire battle. He doesn't even turn into Ganon like he did in every other Zelda game. Granted, the fight is still fun. Besides, the finisher is admittedly cool, but still. Master Hand from the original Smash Bros. Isn't necessarily a bad final boss. He's on the list because of how predictable a lot of his attacks are. Not to mention, he's the only boss in the entire game, aside from the supersized Donkey Kong and the Metal Mario. Star Fox Adventures was so disappointing to me because of the bad voice acting and horrible level design. I know what you're thinking. Well, if you hate the game so much, you should have expected less from the final boss. Well, the cutscene leading up to it was pretty cool, so I had high expectations for this final boss. And it's not really good. You fight Andross, which would have been awesome, but they made him even uglier than he was in Star Fox 64. They replaced his awesome voice with a really annoying voice actor. And his death is more disturbing than satisfying. Pop quiz! Who is the final boss of Pokemon Black and White? Get this? No! It's Albert! Though I will admit, the fight with him is still fun, and the music is awesome. But is this seriously the best they could do? I mean, his Pokemon are in their level 70s, yet he still has the most rushed team I've ever faced. I mean, you'd have to expect something awesome after the epic fight with Getsis. First of all, you'll face Albert after getting the National Pokédex, yet he doesn't have any classic Pokemon. That's a great idea. When Pokemon Gray comes out, they should give Albert some classic Pokemon. I knew the Elite Four should have waited for someone to defeat them instead of choosing someone to be the champion. Okay, let's put it this way. Chase out Mario into Corona Mountain, which has epic scenery and very intense music. Naturally, you would have high expectations for this final boss. And it's easy! Insultingly easy! All you do is just launch into the air, then ground pound onto those pads, then jump off the rubble to survive. And you win! Bowser's really bad at aiming his fire breath. The bullet bills are not that hard to avoid. The music that plays is okay, but seriously! Okay, I'll admit, making a final boss to a game focused on Yarn isn't the easiest thing to do. But what gives them the right to put something this lame as the final boss? I mean, the boss has so much build-up. I mean, he takes over Dreamland. In the first phase, he revives the other boss. In the second phase, you get something this lame? Seriously! Even the music is stupid. I seriously expected a better final boss from a game called Kirby's Epic Yarn. Alright, we're about to face King K. Rool in the helicopter. Sounds like fun, is it? Well, thing is, it's boring! All you do is jump around, avoiding cannonballs and fire, which is really frustrating and hard to do, and far from fun. Grab the cannonballs and throw them into his cannon when he uses suction. Granted, it is funny when it burns on his face, but the battle overall is boring. Granted, the music is epic, and you also get the satisfaction of watching this horrible boss battle fall into the water. Alright, we're about to finish the final boss of Metroid. Destroy these barriers, and then get to the final boss and... What the... Ugh, I have to fight that thing? This boss is just so boring and frustrating at the same time. All you do is stand on the same platform firing missiles at it. The Rinkas that fire at you are just plain frustrating and annoying because they fire constantly and barely let you fire missiles. If you've played Kingdom Hearts 2, you'll probably remember the awesome boss battle between Roxas and Riku. It looks like one of the greatest final battles of all time, does it? Well, in Kingdom Hearts 350 over 2 days, you actually get to be in it. Alright, so what leads to the final boss? What? A struggle to remember the name? That's it? I understand they want to remember Shionne's name, but still, that's so anticlimactic. The battle's not a bad final boss, but come on! Boss attacks are just so easy to dodge. Even his most stylish moves can easily be avoided by gliding. You gotta expect something awesome to end a great game, let alone after the fun battle with Shionne. Shionne would have been a much better final boss than this. This battle looks great, but it's anticlimactic, easy, barely any fun at all. It gets dull after a while. Riku is the most disappointing final boss ever. The music and scenery are pretty cool though.